The UAE has gone to considerable lengths to build a layered air defense system specifically designed to deal with threats like Iran's Shahid 136 one-way attack drones. They've even installed anti-drone metal cages and protective structures around critical oil infrastructure to reduce the damage from direct drone strikes and falling debris. Here's something that pretty much nobody talks about, especially the pro-IRGC and pro-Putin crowd. The UAE operates roughly 50 Russian Panzer S-1 air defense systems, and strangely enough, you don't hear Putin fans bragging about that very much, because admitting that the UAE bought Russian air defense specifically designed to engage threats like slow-moving drones creates a rather embarrassing problem for their favorite narrative. If Russian air defense is supposedly so good, then how exactly did the UAE get so battered that the Americans hid in hotels and refineries, according to their conspiracy theories, despite operating dozens of Panzers? You see the problem? If they admit the Panzer has limitations, they've just undermined their own Russian weapons hype propaganda. If they claim the Panzer is perfect, then they have to explain why the UAE was still getting hit so badly according to their narrative. Luckily, I don't build my arguments around TikTok propaganda and beer parlor military analysis. I look at the data, and according to the figures released by the UAE Ministry of Defense, the country's integrated air defense network has achieved extremely high interception rates against incoming drones, ballistic missiles, and cruise missiles, with reported effectiveness exceeding 90% in some categories. The Panzer isn't operating alone. It's part of a layered system. You've got Russian Panzers providing point defense alongside Western systems such as Patriot, THAAD, and NASAMS, South Korea's MSAM, and other supporting capabilities. That combination has allowed the UAE to intercept thousands of drones and hundreds of ballistic and cruise missiles. The anti-American crowd is sad because the Gulf states are not rushing to Russia or China to save them. They are investing heavily in Western military technology. They are integrating American and allied systems. They are strengthening their air defenses. They are building hardened infrastructure, and they are adapting specifically because they understand the threat coming from Iran. And despite all the screaming online about America's influence supposedly collapsing across the Middle East, countries like the UAE continue to deepen their military relationship with Western powers. That's reality, not the fantasy being sold by people who think every Russian or Iranian ballistic missile and drone is the be-it-all of future warfare. And here's my favorite part. Some of the same people who call Gulf states American puppets will happily jump on a plane and spend their holidays in Dubai. Apparently, Western protection is unacceptable until it's protecting you. Then suddenly, nobody has a problem with it. They will insult America, they will praise the IRGC, they will tell you the West is finished. Then they will travel to a country protected by a sophisticated network of American, European, and South Korean made air defense systems. The hypocrisy is almost impressive. So to the beer parlor military analysts, how many drones can your country's military intercept? How many ballistic missiles? How many cruise missiles? How many critical oil facilities can your air defense network protect? Because criticizing the UAE for buying Western weapons doesn't answer those questions. Calling Gulf states puppets doesn't answer them either. And screaming about how powerful Iran or Russia is doesn't magically put an operational air defense network in your own country. At some point, you have to stop talking and start producing results, because when the drones and missiles actually arrive, propaganda doesn't intercept anything. Radar does. Missiles do. Guns do. Training does, and money invested in actual defense does. That's the difference between people who understand military power and people who just argue about it online. Think sharp.